Forever Skies has been in early access for just over a week now, and it was received extremely well by everybody that has played it. The game is brilliant, it is loads of fun, but it is an early access title, which means at the moment there's a decent chunk to do, but there is so much more that will be added. Now, we did recently see a roadmap from the Far From Home team. If you haven't seen the breakdown of that one, I'll put that in the description down below. There is loads of cool stuff coming to the game, and it looks like we have an update due very, very soon if it's not already out by the time this video goes live, which will include loads of awesome things, but we will touch on that in just a moment. First things first, if you are a fan of Forever Skies, drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. Let me know down below in the comments what you would like to see from the game in this early access phase. Obviously, co-op is something that will be coming at a later date, which that is something that a lot of people have wanted to see. So that is something that will be coming towards sort of mid to late early access stages. Alongside that, they've got loads and loads of plans for build modules, loads of things for the pets, and a continuation of the storyline. When these things will happen is yet to be seen. They do have a rough estimate of an update every 2 to 3 months, which will be a larger update full of content, and then smaller updates periodically between the bigger ones. But a few things that I would absolutely love to see in the early access phase, preferably towards the first half and the start relatively soon, hopefully, just to improve the general flow of gameplay, make things feel a little bit smoother, and a bit more of an enjoyable and easy experience, especially for some newer players that are jumping in and don't really want to sit on the game for hours upon hours when it comes to the sort of crafting elements and the ship building, and are more inclined for the story. Now, the storyline so far has been relatively cool, and I cannot wait to see more of it. But when it comes to the crafting aspects and the base building, they are loads and loads of fun, but they could do with a little bit more of a streamline, especially when it comes to gathering materials. So as we already have the giant deck extractor on the back of our ships, that thing is great, it is loads of fun to use, but I think what could be really beneficial is an automated system when it comes to that. So being able to sort of whack a crystal battery in there, set that to auto, and let it just extract resources, maybe on a sort of 15 to 10 minute loop. Similar to what we have with the sort of fishing rod, the actual trap that we lower down into the dust and it'll bring up dust moths, and then depending on what you put on it, loads of more awesome, cool stuff that will really improve your health. But something along those lines with the deck extractor I think would be really cool. Or maybe just an automated deck extractor, but it does take a lot of resources to build it, and then it can only run for a certain amount of time. Something along those lines would work really, really nicely, just to streamline that process. But then alongside that, even if they didn't do that, I think some sort of remote controls for your actual ship. Because the amount of times that I've just left my ship in auto mode, let it float along whilst I've gone to the back of the deck extractor and got carried away with the extraction process and then flown way past my objective or crashed into something. I think having some sort of advanced warning system on the ship, or like I say, a remote control, would be really, really cool. Or even something along the lines of an actual emergency stop button that you could place in certain points of the ship. Obviously it would be a craftable and placeable item, and you just hit that stop and it brings everything to a halt without having to run down to your actual cockpit and either start or stop the ship itself. Because you can build an absolute mammoth of a ship, and depending on where your extractor is, it could take you a good 15, 20, even 30 seconds to actually get over to the controls. By the time you've got there, you've already crashed or you've gone way past your target. So some sort of portable device that you can do basic controls of the ship from would be really, really cool. And then still on the building front again, this is something that they are planning on building and adding into the game already, but more build modules. Currently we've just got the boxes, which they're cool, they work for what they do, but I think different shapes that would actually blend into the blimp itself would be really, really cool. And then being able to relocate the blimp as well, I think is a really, really crucial point, because you do build your ship around the blimp, but it can really offset things. So if you've got a little bit of an OCD and you want your blimp right in the center, it can be a bit of a pain in the ass because then you've got to build certain ways. But I think being able to land your ship on something and then remove the blimp and replace it where you want it would be a much easier way of going about things. And then, obviously, landing and piloting the ship is relatively easy as it is. But when you've built a big ship, you have a little bit of a problem with actually landing it on some of those smaller areas that you come across. And you crash, and then it obviously damages your ship, which is then another pain in the ass. A way to actually land the ship a little bit easier would be great. And it looks like they've already worked on that. As I mentioned at the start of the video, they're bringing in loads of changes with the latest update that will be coming, well, hopefully soon. They're not ready to announce it fully yet. Like I say, it could be out by the time this video goes live. I'm just not 100% sure on that one. But this here, as you can see, is like a catwalk, which you'll be able to control from your ship, send it out, and then it acts as sort of like a jetty, so you can run straight over to wherever you want to be without your ship actually having to land. Because that is one of the biggest pain of the arses of going into some of these smaller areas and landing the ship there. It can be a bit of a pain, a little bit slow, and obviously if you don't land it low enough, then you've got a real problem trying to get back in it. So having that jetty is going to be really, really cool, really useful. And obviously, once again, having those different shapes of the build system, you could really incorporate that into your build and make something really special and unique. And next up, the pet. Now, if you haven't got to the end of the game, you won't know what I'm talking about. But this here is a little pet that you come across. It is an end game item, you'll find it later. And they are planning on making some changes and making this guy more useful. So having some little things that he can do, maybe come round with you and pick up certain plants, or later down the line when you've got some more combat stuff going in, we could potentially grow him and then have him as an ally in combat. I think that would be really cool. Obviously, that is at much later stages. For now, though, just being able to either pet him or him be able to move around your ship and just walk around rather than sit on the pillow in the corner, I think would be a really cool and just nice little thing to see. Have someone wandering around, you don't feel as alone there as well. Another major irritating thing that I think they need to sort out relatively quickly is the actual repair system. Going around with these little things and repairing each little bit of your ship is a pain in the ass. I think having some sort of console in here, like the cockpit with a ship's health system in it, which you can insert things into, which will automatically repair parts, would be so much easier. Just having it'd be like a sort of mini screen, like an iPad or something, and that shows you what parts of the ship are damaged and what you need to repair, or what materials you could put in to repair it maybe, and it does it automatically. Something along them lines, I'm not really 100% sure, but at the moment, the current system, I know myself, there's a lot of other people as well, that it's just stressful, because your ship gets damaged quite a lot. So either maybe nerf the damage that your ship receives, or improve the way to repair it, because yeah, it's a bit of a pain in the ass. Especially when you're out flying, because sometimes you can't get to a lot of the parts, you have to get out and do it. So just being able to repair it with something better than these, or just being able to whack them anywhere on the ship and it repairs it, would be quite easy. Also, some changes to the crafting I think would be really, really beneficial, mainly when it comes to the fabricator and crafting items on that. So being able to have a second fabricator would be great, because then you can place it in multiple locations around your ship. I'm not 100% sure if you can make another one or whether I'm just being dumb, but I haven't found a way to make a second fabricator. So having that second one is really going to help, just being able to place it in different areas, once again, if you've got the bigger ship. So some people like to keep things really small, really tight. I like to build things that are massive and just look cool. So that's the aim for me, and I know there are a lot of other players as well that like to build those bigger airships and bigger structures. So having multiple points where you can fabricate, and then if you really wanted to go out there with the creative side, you could have different fabrication points for different areas, which would look cool and serve a really nice purpose. But being able to fabricate multiple things at once, or just set a sort of queue on the fabricator, I think would be really easy, just and make the gameplay feel a little bit more fluid, because you can set things on the extractor, run out, go and grab loads of resources and do whatever you want to do whilst it's doing its thing, rather than crafting one thing, going out, extracting for like 20 seconds and then running back and grabbing more stuff. I just think it would make life a lot easier. And then finally, optimization. Currently, I don't know what it's like for other people, my CPU gets quite warm when I'm playing Forever Skies. It doesn't happen on many other games. I think this and just Generation Zero. But if you've followed the channel for a long time, Generation Zero is a lost cause when it comes to optimization. But optimization, I think, is something that will come eventually, but hopefully that is towards the top end of the list. But we shall see. And let me know what you guys think. What would you like to see in Forever Skies in the first update or relatively soon? Obviously, as I've mentioned, co-op is something that they are working on and will be coming at a later date. I know that is one of the big requested features. But let me know down below. If we do have enough suggestions, we can make a video on community features that people would like to see. Either way, drop it down below. Let me know what you think. Drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and stick around for much more Forever Skies. For now, though, that is it from me. I've been Wired, you've been awesome. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.